This is your election headquarters, and we are back. The results are trickling in fast. This election is so crucial that members of parliament abandoned parliament to be in Assin North constituency. We had Big Short Manning polling center. Soon we'll know the fruit of their hard labor. Who wins the Assin North constituency we'll know shortly. I'm joined by Evans Mensah, the head of our political desk, and his deputy Winston Amwa, the two big heads. They are here. Also, I have Joseph Akable, a member of the political desk, is also here with me today. This obviously is your election headquarters. We have the brightest and the sharp political analyst in the country to help us know exactly what is going on in Assin North. Yes, Joe News knows how to cover elections. So join us on social media. When you tweet at the hashtag ElectionHQ on any of the social media platforms, add hashtag ElectionHQ. Okay, so gentlemen, good evening and welcome.
Good evening.
Thank you. Before I come to you, so we look into the results, let's go to the ground to get details on what's happening, is an update on the election processes. Richard Kwajok is in Assin Breku for us. Richard, what has been happening there since we left you the last time?
Well, so Aisha, you can tell from the sounds you are hearing at the background, people are obviously excited, but the excitement seems to come from the side of the National Democratic Congress. They feel that everything has been done. Gyakye Quayson has conquered. He came, he saw, he conquered, and there is massive jubilation. In fact, the jubilation started on a very low key from a few people, and then it went deep into other places as well. So others began joining, where they also threw powder on other people as well. So they are jubilating with anything in sight. They are whistling, they are blowing their horns, they are vuvuzelas, they are enjoying, they are making merry. In fact, it's just like a street carnival. On this lorry park, they are dancing to some music that is played here. A short while ago, they played the NDC anthem, and then a lot of the people, the young, the old, everybody, all of the NDC people, they find themselves. But the results that are trickling in, the NDC wins some and the MPP wins some. But I think what is doing the trick, and it is making the NDC rejoice, is the kind of figures they are recording in places that hitherto they never recorded such figures. Now they are recording. Hello, good evening.
Good evening, sir.
What makes you excited? Because the EC is yet to declare the election result.
In the first place, on behalf of the National Democratic Congress and the entire membership of the Great Party, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, and then the MP-elect, Honorable Gyakye Quayson. In Akan, there is this saying that says, "Abrubru kosia, adiebeye and said." I am warmly overwhelmed in the sense that I've been here for the 22 days as of today. And the moment I touched down here, any community or any police station that we visited, you could see the enthusiasm. That is Gyakye Quayson. That's what the people love. It is him in person. People love him because of his kindness. That is why today we are seeing what we are seeing. MPP did all that they could. But when God says yes, no one can say no. Though the Electoral Commission has not officially declared, but the result we are hearing from the strong room, it indicates that we are going to be more than 4,000 difference.
That's correct.
In the last 3 years election, that is 2020 election, he won by 3,500 plus. But today, it is about 4,000. James Gyakye Quayson.
So now that you believe that Gyakye Quayson has won, what are you going to do apart from making merry on the street and jubilating? What specific thing you are going to do?
He said it in his campaign, that is the honorable elect, that because of the intimidation, humiliation, and the crisis he was going through, his common fund has now been given to him to develop the good people of Assin North. Now, as it stands now, if I'm not mistaken, and I stand for correction, he may have more than 3 billion in his common fund account. He's going to use it to, one, develop the human nature here. Also, infrastructure. Because he's serving a party that believes in development. That is why we call John Dramani Mahama the nation builder. So Gyakye Quayson is going to redevelop Assin North, and it's going to be more powerful than even the presidential aspirant of MPP.
Thank you. Let me speak with this woman. Now, elections no mundi club, but who say who you any akasa? I don't think I'm out.
Gyakye Quayson winning. We winning. Ni powerful be upon onu no the European. Papa no why MPP fu why my papa na abra papa. MPP fu am wa predentia. They say no how papa no dam. What say owin we win obache na to say I am not do meeting we win. It's what into.
So to obey another by-election.
Obey. I'm going to put 10,000. I'm watching you put 10,000. You're not on the farm. You're trying to put 10,000. I be married. Jason Bossano. I be married. Question Bossano. I be married.
So what this woman is saying is that they said that if Gyakye Quayson wins, they will make sure that they jail him. Now that he is one, if they like, they should jail him. Gyakye Quayson is the one they know, and they feel that the promise about him has been fulfilled. So a lot of people are on the street. Hello, good evening. What's your name?
Good evening. What from me Dora? Me fi Winneba. Papa no hold on to. Me chia fair me dey aba a campaign. Member in 3 days. And I may buy. In fact, I seen it from my ze. Watch your door. What am my papa no? Nyami show na ma ota finish share no why dey one bim. Yeah, they am yes.
If I say results he free, I want mo nenyu agi.
Ah, me too here. In fact, me call police station. Na me say, me a woman branch organizer. I will win it back. It's me buy no, me buy medjuma. Ma says I will have it. In fact, wale kanya na me so me lekan. Ampa ye she e ba ha no, ye bete no. Ye mu da ye papa no aye dey. Wezi nkunyum. It's na menu agent. Ma bo powder. In fact, me ka wa anya pa. Madam ase.
So the noise here keeps growing louder and louder and louder. Let me speak with you. Hello. So the NDC says that it has won this election. You are an MPP supporter. What do you say to that? Have you considered defeat?
Oh, not yet. We are still on.
Things are not really working well.
No, we are still on a coalition, and I think the EC is the best institution to come out with their results.
But you couldn't do your own collation, because I know that if you had won, you would know by now.
No, I'm not with the coalition team now. I'm here to find out from them. So if they come out with any results, I'm really about to accept it. In accepting that the EC will come out with a provisional result. It's the only institution that are mandated to come out with their final results. If the EC declares that whoever wins these elections, we are about and we must accept it as it goes about.
Per your own checks, you are an MPP supporter. Per your own checks, how well are you doing? How well are you doing as far as the results from the police centers are concerned?
As I said earlier, the results keep trickling in. the NDC has taken the early lead. And as I see the results now, the NDC is leading. But I'm not about to concede. Unless the EC come out with their provisional results, that's when everything will be concluded.
All right, thank you very much. Can I speak with you? Okay, so how do you see how things have turned out? The NDC jubilating, but the MPP seemingly quiet.
Well, I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised that maybe it will turn. It can turn out. The results can turn out. But let's see. Well, they are collecting, we have our strong room and they are collecting the figures. So we have to listen from them.
But do you think that if you had won, maybe you were doing very well, wouldn't your supporters have been jubilating?
We are doing well. We are doing well. So I hope maybe the results can turn out.
Okay, so the celebrations are turning very wild here. The scenes in your shots are that of the NDC. The vehicles are now in here. It is like a festival. It is like a street carnival. And Gyakye Quayson, we are told, is in one of these vehicles, responding to cheers, responding to the victory chants. So scenes of excitement from the National Democratic Congress. They are very excited, they are very happy. They believe that it is a hard-fought win. They worked very hard and they merit this win. And this is the message they are sending to their supporters, that they should go out there and jubilate, because Gyakye Quayson has conquered, Gyakye Quayson has won, Gyakye Quayson will become their next member of parliament. That is what they seem to be saying. It's an interesting spectacle to behold. People are now coming out of their homes. They are coming out of their homes. They are coming out from wherever they went to, and they are out here on the streets. So, in your shot here is the minority leader in parliament, Gyakye Quayson, leading the pack. Okay, so the minority leader has just indicated that they are going to address the media shortly. So we await that particular moment. They are going to Gyakye Quayson's house, and that is where they will be possibly addressing the media from there. From here, we'll also be going to the Collation Center, because all hasn't ended. But if you speak with the NDC, they are very excited. You have done it again?
Pardon?
You have done it
again. We told you earlier that here, Gyakye Quayson is going to Gyakye Quayson is going to win. And then we have won. Nobody can challenge us. We have to go for them.
So the chants are obviously drowning us. The sounds are drowning us. Everyone wants to talk to us about how excited they have become, how excited they are. And they said that they told us so. They told us that Gyakye Quayson was going to win, and they have been vindicated. They say it is weeks of hard work, it is weeks of intensive campaigning, and that is what they have been served with, victory. And they see, or they say that victory has been well served.
So that's my colleague Richard Kojanyako. He's one of our men on the ground, bringing us up to speed on what's happening there. You could see for yourself the jubilation ongoing in Assin Breku from the NDC's camp. They are claiming victory in this by-election. Well, let me bring you to Accra, where we have the sharpest of brains to analyze this particular election and to tell us exactly how it is looking like. Well, so gentlemen, if you look at the supporters, they claim that they've won. But from what we are gathering, how is it looking like?
I mean, and Winston, it's not only the supporters who are jubilating. Just coming off radio, I spoke to the National Youth Organizer, who was clear. This was around 5:45 thereabout, that they had won this and they're in the lead. And I asked him, are you certain this is not another comfortable lead moment? And he says, well, no, we are very certain. And then the jubilation has started. Too early, too soon to call this.
Yeah, I mean, you could be right, but this is what I see. Now, the NPP has gone very quiet. In the Kumewu by-election, when the NDC put out figures to suggest they were leading, the NPP quickly countered and said, don't mind them, we're the ones leading. Now, I've been trying to get in touch with, all the NPP friends that I have, and those that I know are on the ground. At the time when the NDC started putting out the figures, they said, oh, relax. But then, you see, the thing about election is that on the day of the election, you will know what will happen to you. If you are, if you are involved in that election, you would know. So today, the conversation of the NPP had changed to it's going to be very close. At the beginning of the elections, we were very confident. Then around 3, 4, they start changing the songs. The tune, it's going to be close, it's going to be close, it's going to be close. By end of the elections, we're still saying it was going to be close. Now, what has happened here for me is that the NDC says they've won the elections. We've been doing our checks. And I'll tell you one thing, Evans. I have looked at the 2020 figures from polling station, and we have the polling station results, okay? So if I check the polling station figures on my phone, you can understand where the NDC is coming from.
So they are winning some polling stations that they lost in the 2020 election.
So, for instance, in polling stations where the NPP even won, the NDC closes the margin. So, for instance, you're looking at polling stations where the NPP probably may have won by 100. The NDC closes it. In some instances, the NPP reduces its number of votes and the NDC gains. When you see that, and when you see the trend coming from Assin Breku, for instance,
which is a stronghold of the NDC historically, except for the introduction of Charles Opoku, who also comes from there.
So Assin Breku did the trick for Gyakye Quayson in 2020. The NPP was not doing badly in Assin Breku. If you look at the 2020 results, for instance, Akufo-Addo winning 12 polling stations. He also won 12 polling stations. And so they brought this man, Charles Opoku, to actually ensure that he breaks the dominance of Gyakye Quayson in Assin Breku, which the NPP believes is theirs, and that if they win, they'll be able to win the by-election.
And by the way, what you see on your television, I need to put this in context. This is from 18 out of 99 polling stations. And remember, you've seen jubilation, you've seen people claiming they've won, but the Electoral Commission is yet to declare any official results. And these are provisional results figures that we have collated ourselves. That shows that James Gyakye Quayson is in the lead with 59.48% of the votes cast, as opposed to Charles Opoku, who is in second place with 39.76%. And of course, the candidate for the LPG with 14 votes there, 0.28%. And again, let me emphasize, this is only from 18 polling stations. This is not the final results. We have 99 polling stations in the Assin North constituency. This is just a drop in a mighty ocean, as you see there. But the NDC, they've been jubilating already. And by the way, listen, we have George Opariado on the line. He's a national youth organizer of the party who's joining us. Yes.
George, grateful that you could join us here. We are gathering that your party is claiming victory. What is it looking like for you? Can you confirm for us how many polling stations you've done and what figures you have?
At the last check, I can confidently tell you that we've gotten almost all our results. Out of our 99 polling stations, we have more than 86 in place. We are just waiting. We have 94 as I speak to you. They translated to us. We are waiting for pink sheets. At the time I was leaving our strong room, we had about 70% of our pink sheets in hand. So we are waiting for the others to bring them, but they've transmitted the results to us. And I can confidently tell you that Honorable Gyakye Quayson has retained his seat. The Supreme Court of Assin North has spoken to the Supreme Court of Ghana that they prefer Gyakye Quayson as their member of parliament.
Well, George, so kindly go over the numbers again. Are you saying you as of the last count, you had 94 of the 99 polling stations?
We have 94 of the 99 polling stations. Results that have been transmitted. And we have over 70% of our pink sheets. The others are in hand and it's being brought to the strong room.
And out of these 94 polling stations that you do have, What's the figure that your candidate has, and what's that of the NPP?
Unfortunately, I'm not behind. I'm not in a strong group, so I'm not able to quote exactly the figure. But I can tell you for free that we have won the elections. We have won the elections. We've comfortably won the elections. And like I said, the Supreme Court of Assin North have spoken to the Supreme Court of Ghana that they still prefer Gyakye Quayson as their member of parliament.
Going into this election, I mean, some pundits said it was a neck-and-neck affair. What did that trick for you?
I didn't get your question. What did you say?
I'm asking, what did that trick for the NDC in this election? If indeed what you're saying is what it is.
The candidate in person is a likable candidate. His good work spoke for him. Although the good people of Assin North saw persecution instead of prosecution, and the injustice that was being meted out to Gyakye Quayson motivated the rank and file of our party. And so everybody was out here to work for Gyakye Quayson. People came on their own. Ordinary Ghanaians who ordinarily will not do politics felt that the decision from the Supreme Court was unfair. It was a decision per inquirium, and they believed that we could only correct that mishap by returning Gyakye Quayson back to Parliament. And so it was an effort from almost everybody. People who ordinarily will not do politics were out there supporting and working hard to see that this victory comes.
All right. As we speak, what's happening in the camp of your MP, of your candidate, really? He's not the MP now, but...
he's at his residence, he's calm. When the Electoral Commission officially declares the results, he will come out and address the people.
So as things stand, you don't expect that if the Electoral Commission declares this, it will be different from what you have?
We have our pink sheets. Everything is possible under Jane Mensah. But I can confidently tell everybody that nothing else is going to change.
All right. So that's George Opariado, who is very grateful to you, sir, for joining us here on Election Headquarters on Joy News. Well, so Joseph, you heard him there. Nothing is going to change. They have 94 of the polling centers out of the 99, and their candidate has over 70% of the vote cast.
I mean, I think Winston made an interesting point earlier. It's about the coalition and how the MPP posturing is currently. If you compare it to 2020 and 2016, we've always made a point that it appears the MPP had a more robust and efficient coalition system than the NDC had. And so in 2016, the MPP long had indicated that they had won. The NDC couldn't collate the results. I mean, they criticized the leaders of the party for failing to do so. I mean, Assin North is just one constituency, 41,000. We have 99 polling stations. And so far, I have equally not seen any such results coming from the camp of the NPP. And so it raises the question again that what is happening? What we have picked up, what we've been able to collect ourselves is still not enough to give us a bigger picture of how things are looking like at this point in time. We have 58, 59%, 57 now, just 18 of the polling centers results that we have now. And so the question still remains that what exactly is happening in the camp of the NPP? Did the coalition system fail this time around?
Is it also an indication of, say, we've given up, we know we've lost, that's why we're not hearing from them?
I mean, possibly. On the other hand, too, it could be the case that, well, let's see how things are going, or maybe things are in the works, we are doing our own coalition, want to see how it's going to turn out. But be that as it may, from what we are picking from the polling centers, where we all agree that that is the building block, that is basically where we start deciding who is winning. And we've heard the Supreme Court even say the point, we've heard respected jurists, among others, make the point that elections are won at the polling centers. Because that is where they vote, that is where it is declared. Yeah. And that is how come we have that system where you can barely influence the election. Because once it's declared there, everyone knows the result. And so it's up to you to have an elaborate system where you're able to transmit the results from a center to another level to be able to collate it. So any serious political party at this point in time, where the declaration has been done, it means that you should know where things are heading. Yeah. I mean, if you do not know, it's either you are in denial or perhaps you simply are keeping your cards to your chest because of some last-minute moves that you may be trying out. But that is not what we may necessarily be seeing at this point in time. We just have to wait and see what happens now. But, I mean, it has been a very interesting race so far.
Out of 99, they say they have 94, and he says, Operado says, their candidate has over 70%. Is that not quite a huge margin if we should go by what they say?
I mean, if obviously it's left with just 5 centers, then it means that unless it is the Assin Center where they have the 3 polling stations, unless there are multiple of those ones, it's practically impossible to change anything.
I mean, the point he makes, beg your pardon, is that they have 70% of their pink sheets. So it's not the candidate having 70%. But they have 70% of their
pink sheet. Yeah.
And they're actually waiting for the remaining 30%. And the agents have told them they're bringing the pink sheets to them. Now, the good thing about the by-election is that you actually have, big wigs of a political party acting as agents. And so in many elections, you could always talk about the fact that you could intimidate agents here and there and get, pink sheets from them. But in a by-election, when the political bigwigs are the agents, it's very difficult to get these things from them. So if that is anything to go by, and the silence of the NPP, this is not like Kumewu. By this time, we knew that the NPP was winning, would actually, get you to ask a few questions. But again, you want to wait for the Electoral Commission. But when a political party comes out to say, I have won, I have won. When a political party is able to show you figures and you can confirm those figures, it's not so difficult to say that's the situation.
For me, what I'm actually looking at, the single most important, I guess, incident, it's not an even incident, it's what hasn't been said. What hasn't been said that is convincing me a bit more that the NDC may be right. I'm not necessarily banging on what they've told us tonight and the jubilation, but I'm banging on the NPP's silence.
That's the
and also because we know historically, and Blaise made the point, the NPP has a stronger collation system. They have a stronger election machine than the NDC. We've seen even in Kumewu, it played out. Yeah. In 2020, it played out. In 2016, when their collation system crashed, when the Professor Botwe report came out, it was one of the things that they talked about. In 2020, they again had an issue with the collation. So we've seen over the time that the NPP has deployed a far efficient, far effective collation mechanism. For 99 polling stations, by now, the NPP should be in a position. And I've been monitoring their various social media platforms. If they were winning, we would be seeing some form of social media reportage from the NPP's camp about their numbers. We haven't seen that yet. And for me, that alarms me in terms of confirmation of what the NDC is saying. It is the closest hint, the most surest hint yet, that this is possibly true what we're seeing. This is just, as we see, it's increasing in 23 of the polling stations coming in, and you see the gap closing a bit. And it depends, by the way, where the polling stations are.
Where the polling stations are. And see, that's the point.
Okay, guys, I'll probably have to pause you here. Let's go back to Ohim Interior, who is in the strong room now, to give us the latest that we are gathering here. Ohim, you are there. What have you gathered? What can you share with us?
Yes, Kojo. I'm inside the Roman Catholic Church, the Coalition Center, for the Assin North By-Election here. And I can see some election observers, Codeo, officials of the Electoral Commission, and a few National Democratic officials who are here, and then the media in our numbers. The EC has a screen here, and on the screen, the EC is projecting the electoral results. So I can see 31 out of 99 polling stations that have so far been computed on the screen, and the numbers keeps changing. I mean, the figures keep changing. On the screen here, I see out of 31 out of 99, Charles Opoku of the NPP is trailing James Gyakye Quayson of the NDC by 47.45%, and that of James Gyakye Quayson being 52.31%. We are talking about 99 polling stations. So out of the 99 polling stations, the EC is projecting 31 polling stations here. But the electoral officials from all the polling stations, some of them are still at the entrance of the coalition center, and they are being screened before they are allowed entry here. The same way as the media who were accredited by the Electoral Commission to also provide coverage for the election. So in the coalition center here, a few people are allowed here. Just before you get access to the coalition center, you have to pass 2 gates. The first barricade is manned by police and the Electoral Commission officials. So they mention names. Indeed, if you are accredited to monitor the coalition here, collation of results, then your name should appear by the Electoral Commission calling you and also ascertaining whether you have the accreditation. And then when you have passed the first point, then you also come and meet route control police officers supported by a few Electoral Commission officials who would then also mention names. I witnessed a situation where some NDC officials were trying to bulldoze their way through the coalition center here, but that will not happen because the police have been very, very resolute and very straight, ensuring that only those who are accredited are allowed entry to this point. And so, like I said, the EC is still projecting 31 out of 99 polling stations here. But unfortunately now, something else is showing here. So the officials keep working on the figures inside the Roman Catholic Church at Assin Breku here. Just as where I stand here, I could hear the vuvuzelas, the sound of the vuvuzelas all over the place, because the party supporters who are not allowed entry here have no option than to sort of enjoy themselves outside the coalition center here. So the Electoral Commission officials are here. Many of them are seated, and they are the ones that the officials who are the polling station officials will first have to bring the figures, the pink sheets I learned, and they have to be satisfied first before they are put on the screen or computed and they are projected on the screen. So security is very tight.
So Hime, as it stands now, has there been an update on in the numbers coming in terms of the certified results by the EC?
Like I said earlier, the EC is projecting 31 out of 99 polling stations. So the indication is that as and when the figures drop, then the EC will input those figures in, and then the observers who are here will have the opportunity to see them as and when the figures are being imputed. So let me try and speak to some of the NDC officials who are here, if only they will speak to us. I'm trying to speak to some of them here. Yes. Yes, so let's see and speak to Mr. Bidzidin. Chief, good evening. Good evening. Yeah, I'm good. It's good to see you.
Great.
How does it feel at this point of the elections, having been part of this process from the day the EC declared this seat vacant and then campaigning started, now the voting proper, and today we are here at this time of the night?
It's all excitement, and I feel great. I feel really great to be part of today's event, because we thought that what had been meted out to Gyakye Quayson was complete injustice. And we needed to all come here and then rectify the injustice. Unfortunately for us, the good people of Assin North were prepared to support our position and then to ensure that we all together righted the wrong which has been committed.
So
happy about that.
So, as far as the results are concerned, I know as a political party you have your own internal mechanisms where you collate all the results. What has the figures been telling you?
Oh, we have won the elections hands down. In fact, by a landslide. We have won the elections by a landslide because from our own internal collated figures, we are in the region of 17,000, while the MVP is struggling with 11,000. And so the gap is quite wide. It's much wider than what we had during the general elections. And in fact, some of the figures are baffling to us, considering the fact that in this particular by-election, the NPP did everything under the sun and the moon to win this by-election by bringing all kinds of projects and then also all kinds of goodies to the people. And they thought that they were going to change the minds of the people. But the people were never convinced by all those things because they knew that the government wanted to just hoodwink them and they resisted it. Now, let me tell you, I kept on telling people that. In fact, when I came here, that was one of my campaign messages. I said, look, the people of Assin North, you voted and elected Gyakye Quayson as your a member of parliament. You did so consciously, and then he went to parliament. Some people use some other technical reasons to remove him from parliament, and then there is an opportunity for you to vote again in a by-election. So my advice to them was that let people know that you did not make a mistake in the first place when you voted for him in 2020 by confirming that you stand or you still stand by the decision that you took on 7th December 2020. And I think that message went down well with them. And at the end of the day, we are all happy that the people have done what is needful, and we are happy about that.
So, in your expectation as a party, what won you the seat? Was it by dint of hard work, sheer luck, or what?
In fact, it is everything together. We were determined to win this seat. Of course, we do not have the type of resources that MPP has, but we have the human beings. And so we decided that we'll mobilize every single human being. That's why almost all MPPs, or all NDC MPs were in this constituency to campaign. Executives came from all over the country. They all came and they were campaigning. And I'm saying that even in the constituency, the constituency foot soldiers, they were prepared to work day and night. And when I came here, I was assigned to some electoral areas. The first electoral area I was assigned to was Akumfude. Then I was again assigned to Daseme. And I think that for today's event, I was assigned to Breku Presby Primary. And so yesterday, we had to go around as the last movement for the campaign. And I was really very, very impressed with the response of the people. The people's response was fantastic. And it reflected in the results of today's by-election.
Okay, so it's a mixture of dint work, it's a hard work, it's a mixture of sheer luck, and a mixture of what?
No, there is no luck in it. It is all hard work. It's by dint of hard work. There's no luck in it. We were determined to win it, and we worked for it, and then we won it. And you see that because of the energy and the determination that we put into it, we have increased our votes, the margin of our votes. And that goes to tell a story that we were indeed determined to win. Of course, we must thank the people of Assin North for supporting our position, because without their support and without their votes, we could not have achieved what we achieved. So it is an opportunity to thank the people of Assin North and then to say, we thank you very much for supporting our cause.
So that has been Mr. Bidzidin. I remember in the days when he was the secretary of the National Democratic Congress, and now serving as a member of parliament for
Laura.
Yes. So sharing his views on what has been happening in the Assin North constituency. I will be speaking to Eric Ntori of the New Patriotic Party. He is here as well. So let me speak to Mr. Eric Ntori of the New Patriotic Party. How has the journey been for you so far as a party?
Let me say, it hasn't been easy, but it's all good. Look at our preparation and everything. It's been good. This is elections, and it didn't go well for us, but it doesn't matter that we lost it all. I think we'll go back to the drawing board, prepare again, and come back in 2024 and make sure we can snatch the seat again.
When you say it didn't go well for you, is it a way to say that you've already conceded defeat?
No, we haven't. We have, looking at the figures that are coming in, we have some few ones to, at least, few polling stations to go. But let's finish so that after the EC has finished its data capturing, then we can say that we can concede defeat. But as it stands still, we are still on the process.
So as
you see, EC has done about 35. Yes, but so we are still on it.
So the 35 polling stations out of 99, how has it been going for the MPP?
Oh, you can see from the board. Let's EC projected for you to see. I think they've moved it. You can, but when they project it, you see the percentage.
Yes, I know MPP as a party. You work so hard down here. Going forward, what do you think perhaps didn't work well for you as a party?
Thus, I've said that whatever it takes, we'll go back to the drawing board, work our things out. Where we fall short, we'll make an amendment to it and come back into stronger in 2024.
All right, that is Eric Intori. Can I have your position, sir?
I'm the Director of IT. Director of IT for the New Patriotic Party, Eric Intori, sharing some information for us. So he says he wouldn't want to concede defeat. As at this time, 35 out of the 99 polling stations being projected by the Electoral Commission, the NDC is ahead. But MPP as a party will wait till the EC finally declares the results. So in the coalition center here, people have gathered here. We had the opportunity to speak to Bidzidin, and we've spoken to the Director of IT for the New Patriotic Party, Eric Intori, and we continue to speak to more people. Let me speak to Mr. Kofi Adams, the MP for Gwim. It's been a very long day for you. I can see this in your face. How has it been for you?
Well, I would say when you win, it's good, despite the tiring process, where it's been good. The people of Assin North have spoken. Our work has not been in vain. Right from the word go when we came into these constituencies from 2nd of June, it has been promising, and it has ended well. Indeed, in most of the polling stations, we outperformed our 2020 performance. That is a clear indication of what is to come. And I'm so happy for the high level of enthusiasm shown by everybody, from our leader, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, our national chairman, general secretary, all executives, grassroots followers, the regional executive, constituency executives, chiefs, and the people of Assin North. And they have shown loyalty. They have shown that they hate injustice. They've shown that they want to give it to the party that care about them. As we went around every community, every single development that you see in this constituency has been the initiative of the NDC administration.
Something that the MPP do contest that is not true for them.
Where is the contest?
Yes,
were they able to show anything that they have done?
Yes, they've argued that everything that we see as far as this robbery is concerned was initiated by the MPP, talking about the current road, the road network between Assin Praso and then...
everybody knows that this is a Gyakye road, and everybody knows the history of Gyakye. Gyakye was in this country until we went HEPIC, when Japan stopped giving us donor support, because we went HEPIC. It was when the NDC came back to power, and especially under President John Dramani Mahama, that he went back to Japan and renegotiated for Japan to begin again the Gyakye projects. This project is under Gyakye. So it's so clear.
AstroTurf?
Well, AstroTurf, when Vice President Bawumia came here to commission it, you saw it. You couldn't differentiate between an AstroTurf and a swimming pool. You didn't know whether they constructed a semi-swimming pool or it was an AstroTurf for football.
What does that mean? I'm confused.
Because it was flooded. The AstroTurf is flooded. You passed there and you saw it. Do you see a pitch where football is played, and there's not even space for the technical people to stand and coach their teams? So how can you describe that as development? How can you really describe what they put there as development?
Now, because you mentioned the former President John Dramani Mahama's name, was his involvement, the Mahama factor, was it an issue? Did it work for the NDC in this by-election?
Of course, you saw the results. Many of the places he went to, the results changed. We did not win those communities in 2020. Honorable Gyakye Quayson campaigned in all these communities. His participation today and in those communities gave us a different result. And I think that his presence added to the results that we got. In Kushia, we outperformed our 2020 performance. In Akomfudi, in some police stations, we won handsomely. In Breku, we further improved. In Dansami police station, we have not won, we won. In Praso, we won 2 out of 4. So police stations that they call through the main road, that they considered that traditional stronghold, or we changed it to green. So it tells you that the participation of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, twice, he was here, spent some time, 2 days with us, went back and came again for the final day, which was on Sunday. And so it helped a lot.
All right. That is MP for Buem constituency, Kofi Adam, giving his thoughts on the developments here. And so, Kojo, I want you to take over whilst I also gather a few more speakers here to speak to regarding the elections here.
All right, thank you very much, Ohiming Teria, man in the strong room in Assin Breku. There, you're still watching the results show here on the election headquarters. Joy News, we're bringing you live coverage of whatever is happening in the Assin North constituency today. The NDC is already claiming victory in this by-election. Now, Mr. Intori, who is the director of IT for the MPP and is the one in the strong room in Assin Breku, just told us a while ago that they concede and then they'll go back to the drawing board. Let's listen to that particular interaction.
Look at our preparation and everything. It's been good. This is elections, and it didn't go well for us, but it doesn't matter that we lost it all. I think we'll go back to the drawing board, prepare again, and come back in 2024 and make sure we can snatch the seat again.
When you say it didn't go well for you, is it a way to say that you've already conceded defeat?
No, we haven't. We have, looking at the figures that are coming in, we have some few ones to, at least, few police stations to go. But let's finish so that after the EC...
Well, so that's Intori, who is director of IT for the MPP. Well, Evans and Winston, shocking?
We were saying it earlier, and I was saying the MPP silence is the one that is confirming for me, I guess, their defeat. And that's it, the director of elections admitting that they've lost it.
Exactly, and when I started, I told you that, look, in Kumewu by this time, we knew the NPP was done with its coalition. We've talked about what the NPP had done in previous elections. And so the moment the NPP wasn't coming out, and no, the moment the NDC came out with figures, the first thing I did was to go check the figures. Okay, check and actually find. And once I realized that, look, Gyakye Quayson was improving in areas that that NPP had, beaten him with huge margins in 2020. He got the impression that this wasn't going to work for the NPP. And around that time, the NPP bigwigs went silent. The people who were saying, it's very close, it's very close. This is not close. It's very close. All went silent.
Again, this closeness subject you've introduced, I'm now going to look forward to the margin. What's the margin of defeat? It's going to be significant going forward.
It will be.
I mean, now that we've heard from the director of IT, who, by the way, is leading the party at the collation centers and wanted to say that we've lost it, the margin will tell us a lot. If they lose significantly, quite heavy, compared to 2020, that then begins to back the argument that this is the beginning of things to come next year. And then we begin to ask the question, how much are we reading into this outcome? Which is going to be a big thing going forward, also looking at those margins.
I've always had an issue with, using a by-election as a sign. As a sign of things to come in any election.
But the history of by-elections show us that an incumbent losing a by-election in the second term almost always is a good predictor of the outcome of the general elections next year.
But you see, this is the point also. You would have to look at a few things here and there. Now, this incumbent didn't do a lot of things right. I mean, I'd said earlier that, look, bringing in Charles Opoku, the NPP expected it to do the trick for them, really. But the NPP's campaign was poor, if you look at it critically. In fact, if you go and campaign, and your campaign message is don't vote for somebody who will go to jail.
No, but we're all wiser now. But even the NDC guys, and me and you were there when we had the news 2 days ago, weren't asserting of victory.
No, they weren't.
They weren't.
No, that's true.
In fact, the feedback was, and that's what led to your assertion. It was going to be difficult for them to win it. Yeah. And we all felt the same.
Exactly.
Because even from within the NDC, they were actually conceding that their own statistics and analysis and research have shown that this was going to be. And the MPP, on to the contrary, were exactly opposite. They were emphatic that they were going to win this.
I mean, to be fair, if you analyze the data closely, it indicates that James Quayson was quite a unique candidate. I say so because you have a clear case where President Mahama is losing all across Assin North. James Quayson is winning. I mean, that in itself tells you that there's something about a gentleman that people in the area like. So that's the first point. The second point is also the fact that there is this framing that was put out. Yes, the NDC were unsure of the outcome of that framing, but the framing had been put out about the fact that this is an individual who won by a huge margin and has been pushed out of parliament. And so I think adding that to the nature of it, the candidature of James Quayson, which was obviously a good candidate per the outcome of the results and what he did as against his presidential candidate, I thought on paper, and I made that point when we discussed with Winston in the morning, that I still think that James Quayson stood a better chance, even though it was very close to call.
But here's the challenge, though. Remember that you said he's a unique candidate. However, the NPP also threw in another candidate who also pretty unique in terms of their own history in that particular area. Having taken out Madame Dura from the race and bringing in Charles Opoku, who also came from Breku, the stronghold of the NDC.
The deciding factor, I guess, becomes the framing.
Yes, no, but because
NDC the gentleman who is supposed to come and split the votes actually ends up not splitting it, simply because he's from Assin Breku. But nonetheless, James Quayson does well, and from what we are hearing, perhaps may have even improved the margin.
So this is the point. This is the point. So far from the figures I have seen from the polling stations, and you know we have the polling station figure. So when I see a polling station come out, I go and check. From what I have seen, there are instances you see, say, a 1 vote or 2 votes gain by James Quayson, and in some instances, a 30-50 drop by the NPP.
By Charles Opoku.
By Charles Opoku. So this is what you're saying. Even so, while James Quayson is getting a vote or 2, or sometimes even if he doesn't increase his votes or reduces, the margin of reduction is not as huge as that of the NPP. And so what you would see is that at the end of it all, the NPP would reduce its votes. Okay, they have a reduction in votes. So they had about over 14,000 in the last election. James Quayson about 17,100 and something. The figures the NDC is putting us about 17,200 and something. So just about an increase of about 100 or 200 so. Meanwhile, the NPP has lost more than 2,000 of those votes. So you would ask yourself the question, what happened? Now, you've talked about framing. The NDC did something very unique. So when they started the campaign, they first of all raised issues about his lack of a vote in the constituency.
You mean Charles Opoku?
Yeah, Charles Opoku.
Yeah.
Now, if you watch, I haven't seen any picture of Charles Opoku voting today.
Yeah, because
I have seen photographs of him at a polling station.
But he
can't vote. Yes.
Then there is an interesting interaction that Richard had with someone.
One voter this morning
who made the point that you claim that James Quayson is a foreigner. He was allegiance to another country.
But he can vote.
He said he's voting. So where is your candidate?
That's the
Let him come and
point.
vote.
So, you see, so first of all, I mean, let's say this. I think the NDC ran a very good campaign. This man didn't have a vote. Now, throughout the electioneering period, this man was missing. When I say was missing, what do I mean? This man was not talking. In fact, you and I sat down and were looking for voices of Charles Opoku.
Evans, have you heard him? Have you heard him speak?
I haven't.
So you asked.
No, but this morning I read somewhere that he said they should vote for him to continue the development that he's already.
But have you heard him? Have you heard him?
No, I haven't.
That's true.
No, I haven't heard him. But
I know why that is the case. Because originally he wasn't in the reckoning.
Yes.
For the MPP. For Assin North, originally.
Yeah.
They have then felt, listen, somebody gave them a brilliant idea, but if you're going to go into the race, you were, when we were doing analysis earlier, you said they will take out Madame Dua from
yes.
Because if they put her up again, they're going to lose this particular. And then they go find Charles Opoku, who wasn't in their plans earlier. So the party decided to campaign for him. This is the party's campaign, not necessarily you. It wasn't.
Campaign.
So there's a difference between the two campaigns. The NDC was about Gyakye Quayson. The MPP's campaign was about the party campaigning for an individual who didn't have a vote there. So that's why you didn't hear his voice. The party was speaking and campaigning for him. For the NDC, they believed, and it was like the first poster of Gyakye Quayson that was put out, they framed him as a man who has suffered injustice.
Exactly.
Right? And the NPP did the opposite.
Yeah.
Of also using his court case against him. And look, let's listen to the president himself. Campaigning using, so both parties were campaigning on the opposite side of a message. Whereas the NDC is saying, this is a man who is suffering an injustice. The NPP was campaigning and said, this is a man, if you vote for, is going to go to jail. So is that what you want? Listen to the president.
Hey, that's how they pay. Offering Ghana from Papa. And check around the area if you are there. You will feel. You will feel. The echo two, you will second level. Sa Paswa and the Libra question. Let me know about that. I say before the minute if you say and then they run around. Then I'm right and they run around. And then I'm about to run around. Then I'm right and they run around. And then I'm run around. Maybe we will be our Ghana. I said the two and then another and then no day. The police answer, who are going to because of way and say, nearly be that. 6.5 years in the world. We are living a mayor. I'm running to you, I'm not you. I'm running at you, not you. And I'm moving. There is some making. Move for quadru, dream of power. Now, brother, you quiet the brother. Mukoye onipa ochi aba no ba be boa na some AC high say
and that's the campaign.
Yeah, but you see, that's where the problem starts from. Because if you campaign, so the whole campaign was about Gyakye Quayson, both MPP and NDC.
Yes.
Yeah.
The whole campaign.
Yes. Yeah. So even for Charles Opoku,
they forgot their own candidate.
And their campaign was that Utwan Obeko jail.
Exactly.
You see,
meanwhile, the NDC was saying, you will be fighting injustice.
And the context is also important. There's already perception about people not trusting the judiciary.
Yeah.
Because if it were the case that people totally believed what was happening there was what they could accept fully, that framing will not work, because it will mean that the court is arriving at conclusions that are just and fair. And so when you frame it that the person is suffering injustice, it doesn't make any difference. So that is how come if you throw it in there that if you vote for him, he's going to go to jail, someone quickly says that, you see what we told you? That they simply want him out.
And you see, this is the point. You see, this is the point. And you see, John Mahama made the same point. He's not going to go to jail. Okay? He talked about a lot of things. The NDC's campaign on the ground on the day was that, they've used the judiciary to get him out as member of parliament. Teach them a lesson. Show them that you love this man. Then you go and say that if you don't vote for somebody who is going to court today, going to court tomorrow, going to court today, going to court tomorrow, he doesn't have time to do the job of a member of parliament, you're actually feeding into the NDC's propaganda. Okay, and I use propaganda here not as peddling or falsehood. I'm talking about a campaign scheme. So what you do is that if this man had done all the things you said he had done, Okay? What you tell the people is why they should vote for him. Unfortunately for the NPP, they actually went into Assin North indicating that if they vote for this man, they would lose their MP again. And that over the last 2.5 years, they haven't had a member of parliament, and they face the chance of not having another member of parliament if they vote for that same person. When you do that, people will teach you a lesson. They'll punish you. They'll tell you that, okay, we still believe in this man, and enough of what they perceive as manipulation of the system.
Okay, guys, there's a lot for us to tell you about this particular election. Winston, Evans, and Joseph, we have a lot to share with you, but we'll take a quick break. Stay with us because we'll be touching base with Assin North again to bring you latest on that and also bring you all of those beautiful analysis from our guys here. So stay with us. We'll be right back.